Hello and welcome to Game Changing with me, Tim Thornton.
And me, Chris Sheldon.
In this podcast, we chat to various luminaries from the music world who we've met along the way.
About those key moments in their careers where the stars aligned and it all started to go right.
Good morning. I'm driving to Sunderland. Been driving now for about 3 hours and it's been raining every step of the way. I'm on my way to meet Field Music, which I'm very excited about. So the Brewis brothers, David and Peter, and they've carved a real niche for themselves as a sort of interesting, quirky purveyors of well-crafted pop songs with numerous influences. They first came to my attention with 2012's Plumb, which was nominated for a Mercury Prize. They put out 2 albums in the last few years, Common Time 2016 and Open Here 2018, both of which are very, very good albums. I think Common Time is probably my favourite of theirs, and that includes the super album opener, The Noisy Days Are Over, which gained a bit of notoriety due to the fact that Prince, before his untimely death, tweeted a link to the song, which I suspect the Brewis brothers would have been fairly excited about. Anyway, so I'm going to be asking them about that and all sorts of other things, and we're just going to have a jolly good chat. By all accounts, they're very, very nice guys. Hopefully the rain will ease up and I will get to Sunderland in one piece, and I will speak to you afterwards. Enjoy the interview. Bye.
If you've ever owned a car or you rent a car, you have a company car, then count that up. Add it to the ever-growing list of things you can't claim or credit for. If your mother had a job and your dad had a job when you were growing up, then count that up. 'Cause pounds and pennies are the only kind of capital. If you've ever visited another country and waltzed through passport control, then count that up.
Is this for me?
Yeah.
I wanted to just say before I forget that thank you very much for doing this, because obviously when you're a band and you get offered stuff, you know, interviews, what have you, first thing we always do is look online and see who else has done it and what the previous ones are like. But obviously there's nothing of this at all.
No, I just thought it was an interesting thing.
Yeah,
we know
what you do.
Right.
So, yeah.
I was going to say that I got 2 confessions to make as regards Field Music. One is that I've never seen you live.
You're not missing much.
We just talked about. Anyway, yeah, go on then.
The other one's slightly more controversial, which is that until 2 days ago I hadn't heard any albums prior to Plumb.
All right, that's good.
Yeah? So
Yeah.
Plumb for me was the you know, the rubber soul.
Oh, come on.
No, you know what I mean, in terms of timeline.
I'll take that.
So that'll go to the first thing on the list, actually, in a way, which is the how it started. It was a kind of band at the beginning, was it?
No, I think I'm looking at it as like a 3-pronged thing, and I think about that now. I think you had your own thing, which was you were trying to make a record and thinking about how to do it live, which was called the Nutellas.
Mostly thinking about how to avoid doing it live, but then
you did do it live, and you did it with at least once. I don't know how many lineups of the band you had, but you had quite a few, and there was at least once where it was me, you, and Andy.
And Andy was playing.
Andy was
bass
playing sort of
in his
bass,
left hand,
because he's a big Doors fan, so he did all the and we've played together, me, Dave, and Andy, since
back when we were kids playing covers in
right.
rooms.
And Andy was a total Doors head. Okay. So that was one of the things, was that you'd had that. I had a band which was Electronic Eye Machine. My idea was for it to be sort of like a Miles Davis Bitches Brew band, but for rock.
Without any of the skills to do it.
Without any of the skills to do it. All right, yeah, fair enough.
with not all of the skills to do
No,
it. Sorry.
well, no, of course not. And then we also had this room where we were amassing things to be able to make records, on our own, and it was a cooperative. The idea was a cooperative. It was me and you and the lads from the Future Heads.
Oh yeah, of course.
And so we all had this room together, and we all had grand ideas about how we were going to all collaborate together for the rest of our lives and make sort of art music, whatever. And those things just sort of came together, whereby we ended up almost with the same people in each band.
I think there was a realisation for us that if we were actually going to get things done, we had to do it ourselves. And if we tried to do it together and really supported each other, we could try and be the Beatles.
I think that was the other thing. I think we had a kind of like one of our many like Beatles renaissance.
And if Paul and John could be in the same band, then me and you can be in the same band.
And I think that's I think that was one of the things we thought about, because we always had these little conceptual ideas. I'm going to do a band like that. I used to do little diagrams of the band that I was going to be in. Yeah. How it would be set up. But then I think we both came around to this idea of doing making a record as opposed to doing a band. And I'm also actually, there's another prompt to this as well. It was when we spoke to Andy Moore about let's get together every week and just jam around these.
You kept putting octatonic scales in front of us
so
and
like,
saying, right, let's go.
Sort of like early 20th century sort of compositional things. Where it's like, let's do... Because I was always trying, and I always am in a way, thinking about ways to embrace the silliness of rock and pop music. And the kind of the cliches. And also like get away from them as well.
Because there's a lot
constantly thinking about that.
You can kind of tell, because some of your references are quite humorous in a way, like some of the kind of things that suddenly happen. You may not think they are, but
I'd like to have a sense of humour about them. I think I have a sense of humour.
I mean, just an example is in The Noisy Days Are Over, where about 3/4 of the way through the song, the horns do this at the beginning of a line, and as soon as I heard that, I was like, oh, yeah, of course, yeah. That's just like...
funnily enough...
I didn't arrange that. That was just...
That was something that Pete Fraser, who's the saxophonist...
And he played it and I was like, I don't know about this.
Nah, just... Because all of the things that you put in...
Well, I was going for Parade. Prince sort of Parade.
And Pete Fraser, he heard it and was like,
we
can make it sound like Steely Dan.
Yeah. Because it's got that kind of... what's that song? My Old School. That sort of...
I don't know it.
Okay, yeah.
I mean, I don't.
No next to no Steely Dan.
Actually, that was one of my questions for later. But it's funny. They are another band that sort of everyone seems to reference, but in fact, about 20% of it is really good.
Yeah.
The rest of it is just sort of. Oh God,
I've got a best of that belongs to my man.
The best of is the best.
Yeah.
I mean, for good reason.
And I enjoyed, but I mean, I don't think they were. But I think that's another thing with when we started field music. It was meant to be just a record, and we thought we're going to make a record. And actually, in this kind of maybe answers the second question.
Yeah.
What was the point at which you thought,
you can do this? Yeah.
Yeah. It's when we've been flailing around doing all of these other things.
Yeah.
Trying to basically do record, and I suppose with the nature of the co-op, the idea is whoever's got the idea, everyone else in the co-op has to try and make their vision work.
Okay, yeah.
And then obviously it must have dawned on us to say, well, why don't we just do that within a thing together?
Yeah.
And make each track a thing to focus on.
Yes. So that's is that in the respect of you both coming up with individual starts for the song?
And then just helping each other.
Yeah, say, well, what do you need me to do on this?
Yeah,
okay. Do you need me to play tambourine, or do you need me to just
That's quite
listen?
white album-y, isn't it, I suppose?
I think we realised early on that was the only way we were going to be able to do things.
And just not having the same role. It's like, I'm not the drummer, you're not the drummer, you're not the guitar player, you're not the singer, you're not the bass player. You know, it's like, it doesn't really matter who did what.
That's good. That's really good. Selfless in a sense. It's sort of like...
Well, I think it is in terms of like you being an instrumentalist. Yeah. Because I was always obsessed with being an instrumentalist when I was younger, being like a flash guitar player. Okay. And then I think the ego is somewhere else. Music. And then you start listening to music as opposed to just playing it. And I think, but then I think the ego gets driven by, well, I've got this idea that's worth doing well, and if that means I have to play everything on it because you don't get it, that's the way it's got to be. Right. And it's the same. There's been plenty of times I've been away camping and I've turned up and Dave's just written an entire song, and it's a field music song. It's like, do you need me to do anything with it? Not really. It's kind of done. Oh, okay.
That's good. That's good. You know, that's
it's fine. Yeah. You know, there's no kind of. Well, that's my job in the band. You know. Sure.
I suppose the only time that would be bad is if it became incredibly sort of one person doing so much more than the other in terms of like output. Like what ended up happening with Tears for Fears by all accounts.
Right, yeah.
Where it was just like Roland Dorsabal was sort of like, well, what are you here for? You know, you haven't been here for weeks.
I might get at that stage.
No, I think we you know, are always in the process of like understanding our own strengths, both as writers and in the studio. I think we've managed to make it work and not be offended by how we make it work. Yeah. And because again, like, we've got like other outlets if we want.
Yeah, that's important. But yeah, that's. I was going to ask you, in terms of realizing we can do this. Was there a moment of watching another band or listening to another band that made you think that? Because, like, for example, I remember seeing. This is going back a long way, but I remember seeing this band, Ned's Atomic Dustbin.
Oh yeah.
And watching what they were doing on stage and thinking, okay, I really love them and everything, but actually I can kind of do what they're doing. And so it's sort of like, all right, this could be possible, sort of thing.
I mean, not related to making the first album, but related to like what we had to go through with our years of flailing. Right. When we first saw the Flaming Lips after the Soft Bulletin.
Oh yeah.
And it didn't have a drummer. Stephen Drozd was playing keyboard and playing guitar, and was also on the screen playing the drums. And seeing them do that, and just like, this isn't like a band. The music's amazing. They've found a way to do something else and change what rock music is for them. Therefore, the paths we could take are much wider than we thought they were. Yeah. But what that led to was like 4 years of having ideas, trying to do stuff, and not quite being able to make it work. And it wasn't until we did the first album where I was like, this is our version of that.
Yeah.
Or like getting towards our version of that.
Yeah. Because it's quite accomplished, the first one, in terms of arrangements. I was expecting something a little bit more rough and ready, to be honest. But it's already pretty.
Well, we talked. I mean, I was 26 or 27 by the time I met, so I'd been doing stuff for a good 10 years.
Sure.
But I think that was, for me, driving back from getting it mastered. You know, we'd mixed it all. We recorded it and mixed it all in this room ourselves. Yeah. I think there's a lot of luck involved. I remember taking it to Heathman's. And it was Jacko.
Jacko Adams
was the master and engineer at Heathman's, and he put it on, and he was just.
We were very self-conscious about it.
Oh, I just because it didn't sound like a real record.
We've made this thing.
We don't have any reverb on it. Right. Because we had Zoom reverbs and sounded shit.
Yeah.
So we're like, well, we can't use any reverb. We had like Behringer compressors.
We had like 2 channels of Behringer.
Behringer
compressors. I think they sound
Allen and Heath 16-channel desk, the same as Frankie Stubbs from Leatherface. So I remember seeing it, and I was like, oh, sorry for Frankie. It's probably okay for us. But I mean, you know, gear was unbalanced desk as well, wasn't it?
All of which I totally picked up when I was listening to it.
Well, this is the thing. It's like and we had the microphones. We had 2 Rode NT1s, C1000, 57,
Yeah, that's it.
And probably.
Oh, we
not
might have had a
enough
D.
leads.
We might have had a D112, but I'm
We
not sure
did,
whether
we did.
I'm not sure whether we actually used it or not.
I think we used the. Oh no, I think we used the C1000 on the bass drum. So that's we had like it
Yeah.
was. We were also to go back a little bit. We were very influenced by this idea of DIY. We wanted. There were loads of like bands from Leeds, Nottingham used to come up to Sunderland. There was like a DIY
Network.
network.
Right.
I think what we wanted to do was have our own sort of idea of like DIY, because I think sometimes it just became a style of music.
Right.
It was like DIY punk. It was like Fugazi
Yeah.
influence.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, I was more influenced by 10cc than I was Fugazi.
Sure.
If only we'd realised at the time that 10cc was similarly DIY.
Yeah.
Well, of course, yeah, we didn't realise, and of course they were.
And that's Stockport place there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Strawberry Sound.
Studios.
Yeah,
Strawberry
yeah,
Studios.
yeah.
So we just wanted to
It's almost like you
be in
want
charge of our of something, like making a record. We'd been trying to get signed, doing our various other bands,
Yeah.
trying to make things happen, and it wasn't happening. No one was interested. So we thought, well, what we should do is make a record. We'll call it Field Music. Just a record. It'd be me, Dave and Andy. We'd done some experiments with arranging for strings. My A-level music stood me in very good stead there. And we're going to make this record. We're going to give it to a few people that we know from various labels.
only
who
the
we've
nice
met.
ones.
Yeah, the people that we feel like we could maybe ring and say, well,
Yeah.
what do you think? And we're going to say, look, we're going to put this out ourselves. We talked to some of the DIY guys about like self-releasing, and we were thinking, okay, yeah, we could do this. We could put a budget together, and we could actually do this. Yeah, then we made this. We made a record. We gave it to the guys from Memphis Industries. They were the first people to get back to us.
Yeah.
And we're like,
They were
all
the
right.
only people.
Yeah, they were the only people.
So they were there from the start. That was it's Ollie, isn't it?
Yeah, Matt and Ollie, and but I remember like getting the thing mastered,
Yes.
and the mastering engineer being like, "This is great.
Right. Yeah.
This is." Jacko was just like, the bass was over on one side. We mic'd the drums up, so sometimes I think the close drums are on one side.
Yeah, we had the close drum mics on one side and the distance mic on the other side.
On the other, it was.
But he was just
Yeah.
like, "Oh yeah, don't
Unlearned.
change this. This is
Really?
great."
No, don't change the way you do things. This is great. For his ears, it was like,
He
this
must-
is not like a. This
He
is not
must
like
have
a
had to
normal
listen
indie
to a
record.
lot of like conventional sounding things.
Yeah, and I think
Yeah.
for me, it was we've done something and we didn't know what we were doing.
Yeah.
Therefore, it's been accidentally unconventional.
Yeah.
We were really influenced by, the stereo mixes of the Beatles stuff, where it's
sure.
like, yeah, George Martin would have hated it, but
Yeah.
we drove my dad's Mondeo back from the mastering. We borrowed the car and listened to it on the way back, and we were just like, oh yeah, we've made like a proper record. And it
Wow.
was really, really exciting. And I thought, right, we can do it.
Yeah.
I really vividly remember stopping at Northampton services. But that might have been after Ton to Town.
Yeah, I can't quite remember.
So Memphis liked it immediately, or did they require some convincing?
They liked it enough to go with what we were saying. I mean, I sent them a letter saying we're really okay like putting this out ourselves. We're going to do it. So if you're interested, that would be great. But can you please let me know by like August the 23rd? Because all of our experiences with the music industry that so far had been like people stringing you along.
Yeah.
And we were just like, we're not going to do that.
But actually, we were lucky because Memphis are not bullshitters in any way. They don't have almost to the point of not being very enthusiastic.
Right.
They're rubbish at blowing smoke up anyone's arse.
Okay.
I think, or they are with us.
Okay.
I want to be a fly on the wall when they talk to their other bands.
Yeah.
You're very enthusiastic about them. You're just stuck with us.
But they were like, yeah, we'll put it out. They licensed it from us, and, gave us I don't know, a couple of grand or something, and it kind of helped us.
Yeah, I mean, like they
start thinking about how to do it live.
They were really supportive. Like
Helped us find someone to do the artwork.
Yeah,
it was like finally felt
like part. Well, I thought we were like part of a team, and I still do. I still think it's like me and Dave, Matt and Ollie.
Six Music was like
around about then.
Starting.
I mean, we coming up around then, wasn't it?
Yeah, I mean, we'd already done a Nutella session for Gideon Core on Six Music in 2003 or 2004.
Oh, really?
But that was like really in its
Okay.
infancy.
Right, yeah.
He was the first. His show was the first time I heard a field music record.
Good old Gid.
I remember it. I was doing the washing up, and it was Who Pay the Bills.
Oh yeah.
If it's easier to run from working every day, then leave.
And I was just like,
Where's one?
Yeah, I'm still trying to figure that one out. That's one we can't just drop back into the set because I'd be lost on the drums.
right. Oh, you don't play it live anymore? That one.
We haven't played it for a while.
It's great, that one. Needs a third verse, though.
No, I think you're right because it just kind of stops.
Yeah.
But
That was one of the things with like the first two records. First record especially, it's just like it was influenced by that wire. It's like once you've run out of lyrics, you just stop.
Yeah.
And
fair enough.
so we had very few. We had a couple of like longer songs, but
Right.
And I think the album that's from Plumb. I think we went back to that a little bit. It's like once you've said what you need to say,
Yeah.
get out
you
of
just
there.
move on
Yeah,
to the next
yeah.
song.
Get
And
out.
it works in the context of an album, but you know, rightly,
As a single.
Memphis would go, there's not really many singles on this one.
So then you had another two records after that.
Well, after the first record,
Yeah.
we went straight on to do Tones of Town,
Yeah.
which was the second one, which was me,
I quit my
Dave,
job.
and Andy.
Andy quit his job.
We basically
thought-
found some publishing money for
Yeah.
Andy to quit his job, and we said, look, let's try and do this for a full year,
Yeah.
and we set about making a kind of more of a bandy kind of record.
Mhm.
We thought we chanced upon a drum sound. I remember quite early on, where it was just like three mic drum kit
Yeah.
sound. The room sounded great. We're like, okay, and a lot of it was just me, Dave, and Andy playing together.
But I already felt really like burnt out by the time we started making Tons of Town. I think the process of doing the first album and waiting nearly a year for it to come out, working at the same time, doing bits of touring on
Yeah.
weekends, and then like rushing back because I was using up my holidays. So really, like by the time we'd finished recording Tons of Town, I was ready just to stop doing the band.
Really? Wow. Okay.
And then
Yeah, I
Memphis
think we all were really.
put the release. They were like, you know what? We said we were going to do it in September.
Yeah.
We're not going to do it till next February.
We also weren't very natural performers.
Mm-hmm.
I think we were a little bit.
Shy.
I was
embarrassed,
quite. I mean,
finding it quite stressful.
yeah,
Just the three of us in my dad's borrowed ponytail.
yeah. But it was a good little band, you know. But it was a three piece.
yeah,
It was. We were almost too tight, to the point where we may as well have not been there.
Right.
You know, it was just like a kind of like a live version of the record without all the bells and whistles, but it was just like there was hardly any performance to it whatsoever. We were just concentrating, pressing the pedals at the right time, and I think we were bored, but also stressed, and still we hadn't really sold any records. You know, still nobody really knew who we were, so we'd go out and play some gigs, and it was great to be able to do this music that we wanted to make as a three-piece band. And
I mean, occasionally had gigs where you came away thinking we really can't do this, but they were few and far between, and not enough to like alleviate.
Was this mainly in the UK?
it was nearly all in the UK. I remember doing. Well, actually, no. We went to America a few times.
We went to America like 3 times in that.
And that was tough.
That was even more
kind of
stressful.
tough.
Bits in Europe.
I suppose me, I don't know about you, but I think I'm sure Andy would be the same. I think we like gave a lot of time and energy to it, and we felt we weren't getting much back, and we were running out of money.
So when did that change? How did that change? Did that change with the next record? Or did that change with Plumb?
I think it changed in the interim, really.
Right.
It changed when we weren't there.
I think it changed when we weren't there, and we
Okay.
I did an album called The Week That Was, which was a kind of like Peter Gabriel there, and Japan and Kate Bush's Fairlight
Right.
celebration album.
Okay.
You did your first School of Language record, and we just thought, in a way, Field Music should be a production company, and it should be just there to do the things that we like, not to try and have a career.
Right.
I went to back to university. What did you do?
Lived from hand to mouth in Sunderland, where it's very cheap to live, or it certainly was then.
Yeah.
One of the other things we didn't say about like the aftermath of the first two records is that we had benefited from being coming out at the same time as lots of these like new guitar bands who were influenced by post-punk.
Yeah.
We had direct connections with the Future Heads of Maximum Park who were doing really well,
Mm-hmm.
but there were lots of other bands as well at the same time, especially like in the festival environment.
Which is where you kind of you get
That's
people
when-
to like you in a way.
Yeah.
Get people to like
Yeah.
a new band was via a
Yes.
festival. A
It's
guitar
also
band.
it's also a bit of a kind of litmus test, isn't it, for how well you're doing?
Yeah.
Like if
Yeah,
you-
so
if you-
so for us it was very much like
Oh.
you guys are rubbish.
Right.
And you just we found ourselves getting measured like where your reference point is, I don't know, Kaiser Chiefs or Block Party.
Uh-huh.
And it's if you measure us on that scale,
Yeah.
we are a terrible band.
Right.
If your idea of what's good is anthemic choruses and like, you know, like the real like the sucker punch and the like raised eyebrow tales of suburban laddishness,
Yes.
we are a terrible band.
Of course, I mean, you know, we were a guitar band that came out around about that time, and I think, and we had to we thought, this is what we need to compete against for
Yeah.
people's attention, then we're always going to fail, so let's just not.
Right.
Let's just say, well, we're
We
not
do all sorts of
involved.
kind of
We're not involved in this. We're not. Field Music aren't a band.
Right.
We're never really a band anyway. We're meant to be just some guys making an album.
Because in this way, you've probably been compared. Have you been compared to Soulwax before?
Not really.
Because I think of not musically, but in terms of your approach, I always think that and also not the fact that you're, brothers as well, but the fact that they did.
Ghent might be a bit like Sunderland, actually.
Ghent is the Sunderland of Belgium. I've heard it said. But also the idea that you just said that it was it could have been a production company, and that's what Soulwax kind of decided they'd do. They did. I think they did 2 albums, and then they did one with Flood, and then they sort of went, this whole business of doing an album and then a tour and then an album, it's not really for us. So they decided to be more of the production remix people, and then
DJs.
and then they can put out a Soulwax album when they feel like it. And that's sort of where they are now.
I think that was the change that we needed to make.
Yeah.
The way that was received, and the way the School Language album was received. Not that they sold more records. Maybe the School Language album came out on Thrill Jockey in the States, and suddenly it was like, so instead of like having to feel like I'm competing with the Arctic Monkeys or Kaiser Chiefs, I feel like I'm part of a community of experimental jazz and post-rock bands. I'm in.
Yeah, I mean, I think that helped with the perception, and I think, or even our own perception of ourselves, that we can like go and do something else, and put enough work into it, and enough ideas. We were still full of ideas at the time.
Yeah.
To make something that we were pleased with.
Right.
And I think people viewed us in a different way.
And I think what we didn't realise was that unless you are hyped in some way, it takes a long time for people to find you. And it took us that time. And by the time we started making Measure, or by the time Measure came out, more people had found us, and suddenly we would do a gig and there'd be loads of people there and they would know our songs.
Yeah.
And we just didn't realise how much time you have to put in before that happens.
Yeah. I guess it's also probably by that point, that's sort of 2009, 10, is it now?
Yeah.
By that point, the internet side of things had really begun to kick off properly.
We didn't realise that the video for In Context had like 2.5 million views on YouTube.
Yeah.
We had no idea.
Right.
unfortunately, before YouTube started paying royalties, little things like that. We had no idea.
Right.
And then we did a record where we really thought, we're just going to do whatever the heck we like, and we're going to make a double album, and we're going to play some songs where we really sound like Led Zeppelin.
Yeah, it's very rocky, that album.
It's a very
about at least the half
album.
of it is just sort of like they're rocking it.
We're not embarrassed anymore.
we're not embarrassed.
I've grown up like in pub rock, basically.
Yeah,
right.
So I think 50% sort of rock, and I can even hear. I don't know how you feel about it.
5% music concrete.
5% music concrete, because that was the thing I was kind of one of the things I was into. Just kind of field recordings and the manipulation of them, and but I want to get that in there, and I want to Robert Wyatt in there, and
I'm going to admit my long-standing fondness for the Black Crowes in this record.
Yeah. I mean, one of the songs was called Kravitz for a long time.
The title was Kravitz.
Fantastic. There's riffs aplenty as well. I mean, and also those kind of single note 70s. I mean, I've actually got a few little influences, which, at the risk of being booted out of your studio, it sounded like you were listening to a bit of Wings.
Yeah, probably.
There was. Yeah,
probably.
Yeah.
Well, once we were concerned, then we grew up to be bold. What once was Ember Rule, sure enough turned into Jones. We tried to stand for nothing, now there's nothing to stand for. What started as a game became a chore before too long. I don't mean to sound tight, but I see it's hard to fake. So rather this than talk, get your keys and get to work, 'cause then that do nothing, make no mistake.
So this seems to have garnered the most space on my page, this one. So I suppose this is the big question in a sense. Changing your normal working methods, where you changed the way you do things, maybe as an experiment, which then went on to be the thing about that record that you're sort of...
The thing is, I feel like we've done that a little bit every time.
Every time, yeah.
You know, Tones of Town was let's embrace playing live. Let's make it sound like we are playing.
Yeah.
Even if that means, I've left a mistake in, and you just cringe through it. And with Measure, it was, we are going to embrace the fact that we like loads of things that really aren't cool, and that's going to be part of it. And we're going to make a rock record, and we're deliberately going to make it too long, because that's what a double album should be. And then with Plumb, it's like, right, we are deliberately going to say, if a piece of music doesn't need to be 3.5 minutes, stop trying to make it 3.5 minutes and let it be like 52 seconds. If it's a good piece of music, it doesn't need to be any particular noise.
I think we're always looking for the change.
With Common Time, if there was a change, it was that we did choruses.
I remember, you know, it was when my son had first started listening to music, and the only things he really liked
were things that had been number one.
That were basically the things that had been number one. So he only really liked Another One Bites the Dust. Fame by David Bowie, or you know, various Beatles songs. But they were essentially a Hall & Oates. He was really into Hall & Oates.
Right.
Kiss on Your List.
Fantastic. He's got great taste.
Well, he had for a 2.5-year-old. He's not bad. He only listens to the Beatles now. He's not into anything else. It's annoying. I wanted to make sure I at least made some music that my son would be into.
Okay. Yeah.
Because I got into it as well. I was like listening to all of these things rather than
rediscovering Hall & Oates was such a joy.
It was a joy. It was a total joy to get back into Hall & Oates.
Yeah.
And we even ended up buying, you know, one of the famous electric pianos that they used to use, the Yamaha CP 30 and 20, which is kind of, you know, one of the things that they used in the early 80s.
Yeah.
And then we just kind of embraced that kind of like sparkly sound. We mixed it very,
Too bright.
very bright.
Mm.
We did a lot of back and vocals together.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
We did like every.
back and back and vocals and percussion were
We were
really
thinking,
fun
right,
on
we're
that
gonna
record.
do back and vocals like Hall and Notes.
Partly thinking like, what can we do that other bands don't do? Like, what do we do that other people don't do on records these days? And actually, like, really prominent back and vocals is a thing that we
That's the thing we spent most of the
really
time on.
really-
I think the back and vocals.
also possibly had the most fun
Oh
doing.
yeah, it was funny.
Set the
right?
mic either side of the mic.
We just sat
balancing
together
it,
either side of the mic, didn't
but
we?
balancing it
Took
by
all the
like,
bass off.
Yeah.
Double tracked it. Boom.
really dry back vocals. Really like effects on the lead vocal, but really super dry, super loud back vocals.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, on the Noisy Days Are Over, that's like that whole bit with I hope that you can keep it up. That's just, you can. I've never seen it live, but I can tell that would be good to sort of play live, that bit.
Quite difficult to do that vocal line
Is
while
it?
drumming.
Yeah. So you have-
You're drumming on it.
I drum,
Yeah,
well,
right.
I drum on it live. I don't
Yeah,
drum it
yeah.
on the record.
that's the other thing. I think mainly we drum on our own songs on the
Yeah.
record.
Really?
And then
Yeah,
have to
because we're very
learn it.
particular.
Yeah.
That's why we don't have another actual drummer in
Right.
the band. Because
Oh, it'd be just awful for the poor guy.
well, it was, wasn't it? Because we had Damo, who I play with quite a lot anyway.
He's
And
a
we
wonderful
just- I
drummer,
just felt
much
like we
better
picked
than
on him all
us,
the time.
and yet we were just bullying him. It's
Yeah.
just,
Right.
And he is like, by far a better drummer than
Okay,
Dave will
but
ever
you have
be.
such a specific sort of idea of what you want on it.
I mean, I think both of us have actually like at times had to embrace the Prince way of doing drums, where you you put the lyrics in front of you on the drum kit
Yeah.
and play through it, and you're basically like trying to play to the lyrics.
Yeah.
It's much easier when the other one of us is there to like do a guide at the same time.
Okay. Yeah.
The noisy days are over, and here we are instead. Why don't you take the bus like everybody I hope that you can keep it up.
Do you think that the game changer can have a negative impact as well? Like in terms of, I was thinking for you, your Mercury nomination. Was
Oh,
that completely positive?
It had next to no effect.
Really, really interesting.
Well, I don't know. I mean, I don't think we
that was
we
Plumb,
can't
wasn't it?
tell.
Was that
Yeah,
one? Yeah.
but it didn't seem like we sold more records. I think
Okay.
maybe more people heard
I should
of us
think so.
through it.
That's when you became sort of on the Six Music radar at least. That's when you became
Yeah.
sort of
Oh,
Six
yeah,
Music
well-
darling kind of thing.
Well, in that case, I don't know whether it's,
I mean, like we had a song that was like on the A-listed Six Music off Plumb.
What was that?
I keep thinking about
I
it.
keep thinking about you saying.
Oh yeah.
And then, like, from that point on, we've always had like at least one song on an album which is like, it's been a good like Six Music song.
So do you
So
feel
the
like
Mercury Prize nomination, like, I think it helps with that. I mean, one thing it does help with is that we've done a few commissions here, there, and everywhere.
Yeah.
Being a Mercury Prize nominee means that like the arts scene, the funded arts scene,
Yeah.
know who you are
That's good. Yeah.
enough to say, we need somebody to soundtrack this film. Field music. We know field music, and that's
So
a
in
nice
that respect,
situation to be in.
I feel like we didn't really take it very seriously.
Okay. Did you have any thoughts about winning it, or did you just think?
No, not until like 5 seconds before they announced it.
And you realise that loads of people in Sunderland like spend too much
thought,
time in
ooh.
betting shops.
Right,
You're actually
right,
like
right.
a little bit too high up the odds.
Yeah.
So in that respect, I don't think
Yeah.
it had I don't think it had a massive negative connotations, and I think because we didn't play the game with the Mercury Prize too much. For instance, we didn't have a place at any of the tables.
Okay.
We thought,
Once we found out how much the tickets were, we thought, well, for the price of one ticket at
Yeah.
a table we could hold a party with free booze and drink for all of our friends in a pub around the corner, which is what we did.
Oh, really? Fantastic.
And that's not to belittle the prize in any way and what it's trying to do.
But that's not how we do
But
things.
it's like we can't afford to do that.
Mm. I like the young father's story about them like getting up the morning after they won and jumping in a van and driving to Berlin to record their next album. I think there's something quite nice about that. Record you're most proud of. If it all ended tomorrow in like 10 years time, would there be a one that you would sort of save from a burning building? For whatever reason, it could be just the experience.
Just the last one. The last one we made Open Here. It was a hard one to
Was
make.
it?
Yeah. It was a hard one to do anything new with. It was a hard one personally.
Yeah.
And I think it's our best one.
Okay. Yeah. It's very. The lyrics are particularly. That seems like the album where the lyrics changed.
Yeah, maybe I think so. I think.
I mean,
I don't know about you, but for me personally, it was.
Yeah.
I had to start thinking a little bit less tongue in cheek and
Sure.
maybe, but I still want to be
A little bit less abstract as well,
Yeah.
like doing things which genuinely evoke what is going on in your brain. Like where you feel a bit more certain this can evoke something in someone else's brain, whereas in the past I think like quite often we've done lyrics which are quite abstract and which make sense to us, but you'd have to do some serious like detective work for a listener to know what's going on.
Yeah, also I think it's experience,
Yeah.
songs of experience.
But it has that sort of slightly, I don't want to say political, but you can tell when it was made. Like not everyone. This is the liberal problem when people say everyone was thinking such and such. Of course they weren't, but
As we well know.
right.
Yeah.
But yeah, the idea of Open Here and the idea of the first song, all the things on that, all the things that you list on the first song, and hearing that on Six Music 5 times a day was quite nice in a way, because it was just like, it was like, okay, yeah, someone is thinking the same thing that I'm thinking. That's nice to hear that, and it wasn't at all metaphorical, that one. We didn't feel that way anyway.
I mean, I don't think we're very good at metaphors anyway. I kind of try and avoid them really.
Right.
I do as a lyricist.
I don't have a lot of confidence in myself to come up with a metaphor which is like genuinely evocative and not a cliche.
Yeah.
So
people can do it, I don't think that's like,
that's not
not
your
our skill.
it's not
No.
it's not for me.
No, but yeah,
But you do have
Count It Up was extremely literal. Apart from some guy on YouTube saying, some guy on YouTube like commenting, "Well, what am I supposed to count up every time I've combed my hair?" I feel like you haven't really got this.
But what if he was using an ivory comb?
No, it was definitely. I mean, it's definitely a political undercurrent to most of my songs on that record.
So is that one of yours?
Yeah.
Okay. I suppose the idea of the phrase, like for example, the noisy days are over. I mean, that could mean, that's not a metaphor, but it could mean a number of things to a number of people.
I mean, I think it meant more than one thing for you
Yeah, it
in
meant
that
a few
song.
things for me, and
Sure.
I stole that as like that's somebody else has said that.
Right.
I can't remember who, but like it's like.
And actually,
Like-
the story is not about having kids. Like people see the story of the album, see that song title, and think that's a song about having kids.
Sure.
But
yeah.
it's like the story of the song is not.
Not really.
Yeah, well, the verses. I thought that about the choruses, but not necessarily the verses. But generally speaking, I see Common Time as the baby album, and Open Here as the Brexit album.
That's fine. Yeah.
I think it's just an exit album. I think.
Right.
Here.
Right.
It's just all kinds of exits.
I read the dailies, I heard what he said. I waited up till I couldn't care less. I was sure it was through. Sure it was through.
I had another couple of little bits and bobs. You've probably been asked this a million times, so I'm sorry. But how did the Prince thing happen?
I don't know.
Really?
You have to ask Prince. Yeah.
I genuinely have no
Uncanny.
idea how he heard it.
Really? Okay.
Many years ago, I had a MySpace message from Lisa Coleman saying she'd heard a school language song on the radio
Okay.
and she really liked it and it reminded her of her brother.
Ah.
And then someone else who at some point had been part of Prince's entourage sent us a message saying it doesn't surprise me at all there'd be an A, B and E guys.
Okay.
Just out of the blue.
And I think he must have heard Noisy Days, especially the end section,
And
which
thought-
is just it's a Prince homage, really.
Sure. Yeah.
That end section is like
combination of
this is
2 or 3 things from songs on Parade mostly.
Yeah, it's basically
Yeah.
just a parade thing.
Right.
We love Parade.
Just for the crack, really.
Yeah.
I have
So
to
I
admit
imagine someone. My thought is someone's heard that and thought, someone's ripping you off.
when he tweeted it, I was genuinely concerned that that was a shot across the bows for some kind of litigation.
Legal action. Really?
You can get sued for a groove, can't you now, or a feel?
That's why Taylor Swift settled with Right Said Fred. Because you can, in theory.
That's a sentence I never thought I would hear.
I know, isn't that bizarre?
Yeah.
But I remember hearing it and thinking, what? How? I mean, but apparently that's a thing now. You can get sued for a rhythm. Last thing I wanted to say is, interestingly, just the point that I've noticed when you're looking around the web for stuff about field music, this phrase that keeps getting repeated is that they're very well respected and they're critically acclaimed, but they don't sell many records. And it's I've seen that about 6-7 times. So
I just don't think it's I think about this every now and again. And I think it's just the music that we makes just not for very many people. It's not for very many people.
Right.
And you can feel that sometimes when you're at a festival. And loads of people who genuinely love music go to festivals.
Yeah.
And we only work at certain festivals.
Yeah.
There aren't very many bits you can put your hands together to. We even try and do it sometimes for fun.
For fun, yeah.
But we're still never going to be very popular. Never. Less probably. It'll tail off.
Because I was wondering whether you've ever had. I've decided to call this the level 42 conversation, which is that I don't
get Wally Barrow in and.
Yeah. Do you know what they did? That
for running the family, or
I think it was just before that or something. They had this kind of meeting where they said, "Okay, lads, we have a good touring career, we sell a few records, but we really need to start having a few hit singles. So let's deliberately have a few hit singles." And they did. And some bands have done it and it works, and some bands have done it and it's a dismal failure.
I love Level 42. I genuinely love Level 42.
Me too. They're the first band I ever saw.
I've never seen them. I've never seen them live. But my mum had the records, and Running the Family was on all the time. And they were hits when I was 10-year-old.
Yeah.
But we've never really had that. I don't think we're brave enough to do that.
Yeah,
I don't think we're brave enough.
You know what? The songs that are hits now, especially the songs by indie bands that are hits, sound fucking dreadful. I don't want to do it. I hate the sound of those records.
Yeah.
I do not want to make music like that. And if that means we never have a genuine...
Well, we could have a Level 42 conversation. Say, what about we make a record a bit like Level 42?
We could definitely make a record that sounds a bit like Level 42, but we're not going to get a hit single out of that.
The middle of I'm Glad sounds a bit like Level 42.
I even...
that's nice.
Maybe even get
Not
Mark King to come and play on it, but it still wouldn't mean we'd have a hit single.
No, sure. Because I was trying to work out what it would sound like if you did. There's those bands that I think Elbow, to a degree, did this on Seldom Seen Kid. And you kind of think, yeah, they're definitely... It wasn't that sort of obvious, I don't think, but it was a little bit kind of right, let's definitely...
I wonder if
have
it's something to do with getting having someone to do a production job,
Yeah.
and I don't know how that would work.
No.
And I don't know whether...
I think I think the sound of what we do is too far away from the sound of like contemporary
guitar music.
Sure.
I don't like very much contemporary guitar.
No,
I much prefer pop music that doesn't have guitars in.
Yeah.
You know, really.
Yeah.
But
in a way, I think that's probably one of your strengths, because you've got this thing where the graph is gradually going up. If you think about those bands that go vroom, and then obviously the only way to go is down. Yeah.
I just still think we've got some things to do.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? I still think.
I mean, don't get me wrong. This is not in any way a sort of.
It's interesting.
But it's
So
interesting
what
to think
now
about
for
it.
you guys?
No, well,
it's more, you know.
Yeah.
Once you turn the tape recorder off, I'll tell you what's next for me.
Right.
Why should a woman feel ashamed? Why should a woman feel ashamed? Why? Why should a woman feel ashamed?
Field music there. How nice it was to speak to them. I'd like to thank them for having me at their wonderful studio in Sunderland, which was a ex-council building that they've got the whole ground floor of. Amazing place. I'd like to thank them also for providing me with a superb local pastry for my lunch. Anyway, so that was lots of fun. We hope you enjoyed that. We put a Spotify playlist of some of their best songs on the page. And also, I'd like to point out that since this interview was recorded, they have announced that they're going to be releasing a new album in February of next year called Making a New World. They said that they've recorded an album by accident. So yeah, looking forward to that. I hope you enjoyed the podcast. See you next time, and don't forget to subscribe. Bye.